Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Sylvia's Writing Nook, the show about writing, productivity, and how to get the writer's life that you want. My name is Sylvia, and here I talk about my writing journey and try to help other writers who need inspiration, encouragement, or just some tips on how to stay productive and motivated. So, if you are interested, be sure to subscribe. Today's topic is connected with productivity and planning. In particular, I'm going to tell you how I use my bullet journal to plan my week. So, if you're a fan of the bullet journal system like me, or never heard of it but like to organize your tasks, this episode is just for you. As soon as I started law school, I felt that I need a system to plan my days, weeks, months, and even my years. The need grew bigger when I graduated and started my first job. But the planners I used were not flexible enough. I used to use those thick planners where you have a whole page for the day, but there were days when one page was not enough for all the tasks that I had, and days, even weeks and months, when I had nothing planned, so the pages were blank. Furthermore, I needed a place where to write different notes, ideas, memos from the meetings, and so on. So I finally ended up using several different scratch pads at the same time and never knew where something is written. Until last year, when I first heard about the bullet journal system. If you are not familiar with it, I'll put a link to the website of the original bullet journal in the description so you can go and check it out. But with a few words, the system was originally created by a guy named Ryder Carroll, and it combines note-taking and journaling in one place. As they say on the site, the bullet journal is a customizable and forgiving organization system. It can be your to-do list, sketchbook, notebook, and diary, but most likely it will be all of the above. So this system helped me to organize not only my tasks, but also my thoughts, my ideas, and even my dreams. So today I want to talk about how I use the bullet journal to plan my week. But before I continue, I need to tell you that this is not a paid promotion and I am not an affiliate. I'm just sharing with you what I use and how I use it. Now, let me tell you how I plan my week. At the moment, I'm using the original Leuchtturm bullet journal and I think that I'm going to stay with it. I tried several different notebooks, including plain notebooks and the Moleskine, but I prefer the Leuchtturm. It has thick paper so my pens don't bleed through it so much, and the quality of the paper is perfect. But you can use whatever notebook works best for you or whatever you have in hand. For all the coloring, I use Stabilo and Faber-Castell fine liner pens in different colors because I like to color code my weekly tasks. I also use the Zebra mild liners if I need to use pale colors or to color a whole row. And that's for the coloring. For writing and drawing, I use the Pilot V5 High-Tech Point 0.5 pen to write the mini calendar because its tip is really thin and I can write smaller numbers with it. I also use a pen which I found here in the stores in Bulgaria that also has a thin tip but does not leave ink on my ruler. So I'm using it to draw lines. And of course, for almost all of the writing, I'm using the Lamy fountain pen. Now that you know my essential supplies, let's dive into the weekly spread. The thing that I like most in the bullet journal system is that you are not limited to a predefined layout, so you can create whatever layout works best for you and even change it every week. In fact, I'm constantly changing my layout, but there are a few elements that I'll always put on it. The first one is the number of the current week. Then I put them in a calendar and mark the current week. Then I create the spread where I write all the tasks day by day, Monday to Sunday. I also have a place where I write all the tasks that I have to do during the week, but that are not connected with a specific day, so I can do them whenever I have time for them. And finally, I leave a space for some tasks for the next week. So these are the 5 elements that I put in my weekly layout every week, no matter how the layout is organized. All the rest I change every time according to what I need to plan or to track. For example, for this week I created a social media tracker, but sometimes instead I'm doing different habit trackers or just write some inspirational quotes. After I'm done with all the drawing, I start writing my tasks. The very first thing that I do is to look at my monthly spread and see if there are some tasks or meetings or court hearings for the week. Everything that's connected with a particular day and hour. Every time when a new task appears on my to-do list, I write it down not only as a note on the current day page, but also I add it to my monthly spread, so there is no need to go through every single day to search for tasks. The only thing that I do is to look the previous week to check if there are unfinished tasks that have to be migrated for the current week. Here is the only place in my weekly and daily spread where I am using the color coding system. I've divided my tasks into several different categories and assigned each category a different color. So, for example, everything that's connected with my law office has a red dot in front of it. And I mean everything, from court hearings to deadlines to payment of bills. Orange is for my social media, YouTube, podcast, blog, and so on. Light green is for my university tasks. And the purple is for my novel. When I write a specific task for the day, I put a colored dot in front of the task to know in which category is this task. The next thing is to write all the tasks for the week that have no specific date. Here I don't use colors. I just write them down and put these squares in front of them, and the square is my sign for a task. I also write the tasks for the next week in order to see if there is a need to prepare something in advance. Let's say that I have a court hearing next Monday, so I need to prepare myself for it this week. I plan these and put them in my weekly tasks to-do list. Then I look again in my days and see when each task can be done. So if I see that on Friday I have a trip, I don't put additional tasks here. This is how I plan my week. Now let me know in the comments section, how do you plan your week? Do you use a bullet journal, a planner, or maybe a digital planner or calendar? If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on social media and I'll put all the links in the description. If you have any suggestions or comments, leave them here or write me at authorsilviaradkova@gmail.com. Until next time, bye!